Saga of the Scallywags, Chapter 2, Lost and Found. Doot, Calliope, and Odd Fish approached the Witchlight Carnival with a mix of excitement and apprehension. They had not been here for 16 years, and they wondered if anything had changed. They also wondered if they could find what they had lost, what had drawn them here. Approaching the ticket booth, they saw an elderly goblin with a spyglass and an ear horn named Nicholas inspecting guests as he counted out coins and handed out tickets. "Welcome to the Witchlight Carnival, where one can find one's heart's desire," he said in a craggy voice. "1 ticket per person, please. 8 silver coins each. No refunds, no exchanges, no exceptions." Doot paid a gold coin for his ticket and got 2 silver coins as change. Oddfish lied and said that Doot had paid 3 gold coins for all of them. Nicholas gave them 2 more tickets and 4 silver coins as change. Calliope, unable to help herself, told the truth and said that Oddfish had lied. After convincing him they would not be causing any more trouble, Oddfish and Calliope paid for their tickets. They walked away and entered the carnival. After a close inspection of the large painted carnival map, the 3 reunited friends decided to go straight to the lost property wagon. Oddfish and Calliope looked at the wagon, and they saw something that made them smile. They saw a large feline creature with midnight blue fur, with a pair of tentacles extending from its shoulders. They saw a creature that wore fake butterfly wings and a sign that said, "Lost Property." They saw a creature that they recognized and that they liked. They saw a displacer beast. They saw Durla. Hanging from her collar was a small wooden keg, the creature roughhoused with 2 young boys. One boy squealed, "Again, Durla, again!" while the other hung onto the creature's neck. Durla was the keeper of the lost property wagon and friend of the carnival. She was a kind and helpful servant of Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and she followed their orders with care. She was also a gentle and playful creature, and she loved to have fun and make jokes. She had a pair of tentacles, and she could hug anyone or anything that needed comfort. She had a natural ability to bend light to appear to be in 2 places at once. She had a keen sense of smell, and she could usually find anyone or anything that had gone missing. Although she had lost something of her own, she had been waiting for them. She had seen them cheat the goblin, and she had seen them argue with each other. She had seen them approach her wagon, and she had seen them smile at her sight. She smiled back, and she spoke in a soft and friendly voice. "Hello, my name is Durla Grown. Is there something I can help you find?" When they arrived, the displacer beast was minding 2 boys named Vero and Alawin, while their mother fetched food and drink. She had left them with Durla, who was like a second mother to them. They loved her, and she loved them. She told them stories, and she played with them. She made them laugh, and she made them feel safe. But today, something was different. Something was wrong. Durla was not her usual self. She was nervous, and she was restless. She kept looking around, and she kept sniffing the air. She seemed to sense something that made her uneasy. The friends began to question Durla Grown. She quietly cautioned them that some things go missing from the Witchlight Carnival and never come back. Before she could say more, Vero, the older of the 2 boys, picked up a mirrored ball from the lost property wagon. In a rare moment of anger, Durla Grown snatched the ball back with a snarl and a flick of her tentacle, causing Vero to dash away in fright. Unable to leave the younger boy, Alawin, alone, Durla Grown pleaded with the 3 friends to go after Vero. They gave chase, and in no time, Oddfish was able to find the child standing in line for candy. Durla Grown was grateful and revealed that, many years ago, her own cub vanished from the carnival without a trace. The cub's name is Star, and all Durla Grown has to remember Star by is its favorite toy, the small mirrored ball that Vero grabbed. Durla Grown gave the mirrored ball to Odd Fish, hoping, since he was able to find Vero, that he might be able to locate Star. They made their way through the carnival and played some games along the way. They threw rings at the horns of the Almirage and tried to make them stick. They ran after the fairy dragon and grabbed after its tail. Doot recited poems to the gnome and impressed him with his wit. Calliope counted the feathers on the cockatrice and guessed the closest number. They had fun and they laughed. They felt happy and they cheered. They collected prizes. They got fairy dust that could make them fly, a toy spider that could let them climb walls, and magic face paint that could change their appearance. They soon approached a 20-foot-tall teapot resting on a wooden platform, its painted surface whirling with moving imagery of flying dragons breathing streams of bubbles. A door at the base of the teapot allowed entry to its interior. Those who entered emerged from the spout enclosed in a bubble that detached to float off across the carnival. 7 goblins sat around the platform, sipping tea from mismatched porcelain cups. After participating in some rhyming slang, they received some scatterleaf tea from Treaclewise, the Cockney goblin. He ran the Bubble Pop teapot and was a friend of the carnival. He was a cheerful and friendly goblin, and he loved to share his tea. He had a large collection of teapots and a variety of teas. He had a tea for every mood and a tea for every occasion. They rode the Bubble Pop teapot and got an overview of the carnival. They climbed into a giant teapot and floated in a bubble into the air. They saw the colorful tents and booths and the crowds of people and creatures. They saw the dazzling lights and sounds and the wonders and mysteries. They saw the whole carnival, and they gasped. They felt amazed, and they awed. A 12-foot-tall walking tree garlanded in golden ribbons marched down the thoroughfare. Emerald clouds swirled above the tree and rained down golden spinning sycamore seeds. He was North Wind, the guardian of the carnival. He was wise and gentle, and he loved to share his seeds. Fairgoers tried to catch the seeds before they hit the ground. As the seeds gently fell, a chatty squirrel scampered along the boughs of the tree, handing dandelions to select passers-by. Calliope tried to catch a seed, but each one she snacked at just escaped her grasp. But then she saw a squirrel and smiled. He was a small and furry animal with a bushy tail and a red coat. He was Red, North Wind's squirrel companion and the beneficiary of a druid's awakened spell. Red sized up guests while keeping at least one beady eye on North Wind's acorns. Red handed her a dandelion and said, "This is a dandelion of hope, a dandelion that spreads its seeds, a dandelion that grants your wishes. Blow on this dandelion and see what happens." She took the dandelion and thanked him. She blew on the dandelion and watched the seeds fly away. She made a wish and hoped for the best. She smiled. The 3 friends followed the crowd toward the enormous swans gliding through the water, pulling ornate wooden gondolas draped in flowers. The swans disappeared into banks of silver mist as they wended their way down the river. A jetty extended ahead, at the end of which a waiting swan preening its feathers. When they met Featherina, she greeted them with a cold smile. They climbed into a gondola and sailed on the water. They saw the reflections of the carnival and the ripples of the waves. They saw the beauty and the calm and the secrets and the mysteries. They saw the whole carnival and they sighed. They felt peaceful and they relaxed. Featherina was a large and graceful swan with white feathers and a long neck. She was a noble and elegant swan, and she loved to talk. She had a lot of knowledge and a lot of opinions. She had a topic for every mood and a topic for every occasion. She talked about philosophy and asked them questions. She asked them about their beliefs and their values. She asked them about their goals and their dreams. She asked them about their fears and their doubts. Their answers impressed her, so she told them rumors and shared with them secrets. She told them about the carnival and its inhabitants. They listened to the rumors and wondered. They wondered if they were true and if they mattered. They wondered if they should care, if they should act. The first rumor was about Candlefoot, the mime, who runs the Hall of Illusions. He was a silent and mysterious performer who communicated with gestures and expressions. He was a talented and popular entertainer who had a deep, soothing voice. He was also in love with Palasha, the mermaid. She was a beautiful and enchanting creature who lived in a tank. She was a graceful and captivating singer who charmed and mesmerized the listeners. They were a perfect match and wanted to be together. But something went wrong. Candlefoot went to propose to Palasha, and he brought a ring. But he lost his voice, and he could not speak. He could not say the words. The second rumor was about Burley, the bugbear. He was a large and hairy creature with a snout and claws. He was a strong and fierce fighter who worked as a guard. He was a loyal and obedient servant who followed the orders of Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. He was also smart, and he had a brother. His brother was Hurley, the bugbear. He was different, and he did not fit in. But something happened, and he disappeared. He was gone, and he was missing. He did not explain, and he did not apologize. He just left, and he left behind a mystery. After taking their leave of Featherina, they heard a merry tune spilling forth from an instrument on the back of a brightly painted wagon. A monkey wearing a cloak covered with buttons turned a handle at the wagon's rear, sending music into the air from rows of golden whistles. He was Ernest, the organ-grinding monkey. He was a human man trapped in the body of a monkey, in fact. As they watched, a goblin dressed as a ladybug toddled up to them, rattling a tin cup. "Spare a button, if you please. I'll sew it next to all of these. I offer nothing in its place, besides a smile upon my face," said Ernest. They nodded, and they gave a button each. Marigold, the goblin dressed as a ladybug, collected the proffered buttons in a tin cup and delivered them to Ernest. He thanked them as he sewed the buttons to his cloak. He told them his story, and they listened. He told them how he was a human man, and an evil wizard switched his mind with his monkeys, and the monkey ran away with his body. They left him and went to the carousel, wanting to ride the wooden unicorns and wanting to have some fun. They reached the carousel, and they saw what appeared to be a centaur. They saw that some of the wooden unicorns were missing their names. They saw that the carousel was sad, and that the unicorns were silent. The individual who checks tickets and operates the carousel is named Diana Cloppington. Once a human, Diana would only say that she made a bad deal, and now has the appearance of a centaur. Diana fled the Feywild and befriended Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, who offered her a home in their carnival. Diana greeted them with good humor, but a sadness behind her eyes. She tried to explain more, but she painfully coughed up brown tree sap. Diana gave one of them a clay pot of gold paint and some paintbrushes. She said she can close the carousel for a short time while it undergoes some essential repairs. They guessed at the names, rode the carousel, and they heard the unicorns. They heard them in their minds, and they talked to them. They were telepathic wooden unicorns, and they were friends of the carnival. They were magical and graceful creatures, and they loved to run. They had a lot of stories and a lot of secrets. They had a story for every mood and a secret for every occasion. They nodded, and they listened to their story. They listened to the story, and they got angry. They got angry at the hags, and they wanted to act. The story was about their property and how it was stolen by the hags. The hags were Bavlorna Blightstraw, Endelyn Moongrave, and Skabatha Nightshade. They were evil and greedy creatures, and they liked to take things. They took things that were not theirs, and they kept them for themselves. They took things that were precious and they ruined them for others. They told them what the hag's weaknesses were and how they could find them. Calliope was told that Bavlorna's lair is a rambling cottage on stilts in a fey swamp and is allergic to seeing someone run widdershins. Doot was told Skabatha's lair is a dead, hollowed-out tree in a sylvan forest, sleeps in a dollhouse, and can't remember the first creature she sees when she wakes up. Odd Fish was told Enderlin's lair is a mountaintop theatre and has foreseen her own death, which happens during an eclipse. They left them and they went to the Big Top extravaganza. They wanted to perform for the crowd and they wanted to have some fun. They reached the Big Top and saw the lights dim and heard a hush fall over the crowd. A second later, a spotlight illuminated a lithe elven figure sitting in a silver hoop suspended above the center ring by silk ropes. The elf wore a dazzling suit of diamond-paned mirrors and a pair of butterfly wings, his scepter topped with a spinning vane. He addressed the crowd, "Welcome one and all to this evening's extravaganza. I am Mr. Light. Prepare to be delighted." They saw the people and the creatures, and they heard the cheers and the claps. They saw the excitement and the joy, and they felt the thrill and the fun. They performed for the crowd and showed their talents. Doot recited poetry and impressed them with words. He recited poems that he had written and poems that he had learned. He recited poems that were funny and poems that were sad. He made them laugh and he made them cry. Calliope gave a lecture on a topic that she had studied and mastered and amazed them with her knowledge. She gave a lecture on the history of magic and the secrets of the weave. It was informative and interesting. She made them curious and she made them marvel. Odd Fish did acrobatics and he entertained them with his skills. He did acrobatics that he had practiced and that he had invented. He did acrobatics that were easy and that were hard. He did acrobatics that were graceful and that were daring. He made them cheer and he made them gasp. He made them admire and he made them applaud. They performed for the crowd and they loved it. They loved the attention and they loved the praise. They loved the challenge and they loved the reward. The mood at the Witchlight Carnival was electric, the air filled with laughter and cheer, a stark contrast to the somber memories of their last visit. Their efforts had not gone unnoticed, and Burley the bugbear approached them with an invitation that sparked curiosity in their hearts. "Mr. Witch and Mr. Light would like to meet you," he said, his voice a deep rumble that matched his imposing figure. With a mix of anticipation and trepidation, they followed Burley to the opulent wagon that housed the enigmatic owners of the carnival. Inside, amidst the lavish decor, they found Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, just as inscrutable and evasive as they had been 16 years prior. The party's questions about their lost property were met with vague responses and dismissive gestures, leaving them no closer to the truth than before. Disappointed but undeterred, they exited the wagon, only to be greeted by Thaco the clown, whose balloon animals brought a momentary lightness to their spirits. With skilled twists and turns, Thaco quickly crafted creatures of color and air, handing them out with annoyed disinterest. Burley led them back the thorn bush, and it made an opening for him. It was then that Burley leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Something strange has been going on around here. If you need leverage, steal the Witchlight watch. The carnival can't run without it," he suggested, his eyes glinting with mischief. "You can trust Dala, Candlefoot, and Palasha." Intrigued by the prospect of allies, they made their way to the Hall of Illusions, where they encountered Candlefoot, the mime. Trapped in a world of silence, he communicated his plight through expressive gestures and poignant miming until Calliope gave him a pen and paper. He agreed to aid them in their quest, but only if they could catch Kettlesteam, the Kenku who had stolen his voice, a creature known for her cunning and deceit. Their journey led them next to Silversong Lake, where the enchanting Palasha the mermaid resided. Her song was a melody of the deep, weaving tales of the sea and the heart. As her show captivated the audience, a heckler, a man coarse and crude, dared to disrupt the harmony. Quick to act, Doot sprang forward and apprehended the troublemaker, revealing him to be the Kenku in a magical guise. They put her in a sack and attempted to calm the crowd. With the disturbance quelled, they comforted Palasha, whose gratitude shone in her eyes like the shimmering surface of her lake. She agreed to help them steal the watch, but on one condition, that they return it once they had reclaimed what was rightfully theirs. A promise was made, sealing their newfound alliance with a bond as strong as the deepest ocean currents. And so, their plan began to take shape, a daring scheme that would require cunning, courage, and a touch of carnival magic. The carnival's atmosphere was abuzz with excitement as the trio made their way back to Candlefoot, the mime whose voice had been unjustly stolen. In a heartfelt exchange, they traded the Kenku's freedom for the return of Candlefoot's voice, a gesture that would set in motion a series of events that would forever change the course of the Witchlight Carnival. With his voice restored and color back in his cheeks, Candlefoot wasted no time. He found Palasha, the mermaid whose beauty was matched only by her grace, and proposed to her amidst the shimmering waters of Silversong River. She accepted with a joy that rippled through the carnival, her song now a melody of love and promise. The friends, inspired by the union of Candlefoot and Palasha, hatched a plan as clever as it was daring. They would have the wedding that very night, during the crowning of the Witchlight monarch, turning the ceremony into a spectacle that would distract all eyes from their true intent, the theft of the Witchlight watch. Candlefoot, buoyed by the prospect of marrying his beloved, sought the permission of Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. With a heart full of hope, he promised to return with an answer within the hour, leaving the friends to bide their time. To while away the moments, they joined the snail race, a whimsical competition that was a favorite among carnival goers. Calliope, with a blend of skill and luck, claimed first place, earning a potion of advantage, a brew that could tilt fate in their favor. Oddfish, despite his last-place finish, received a wand capable of casting dancing lights, a prize that might yet prove useful in the shadows of their upcoming caper. As the hour drew to a close, Candlefoot returned with good news. The owners had agreed to host the wedding. The stage was set, the players ready, and the carnival held its breath. They retreated to a quiet corner of the carnival to rest, their minds a whirlwind of plans and possibilities. As the time for the crowning of the Witchlight monarch approached, they readied themselves for what was to come. Under the twinkling lights of the big top, a celebration unfolded that would be etched in the memories of all who witnessed it. 3 huge bouquets of twilight roses hung from the center ring, their petals aglow with soft, magical luminescence. 8 garlands of moonflowers spiraled upwards, their fragrance sweetening the air. Palasha, the mermaid with a voice that could calm the fiercest storms, and Candlefoot, the mime whose love had broken through his silence, stood before their friends and the carnival's eclectic assembly. They exchanged vows that were as deep as the ocean and as sincere as the silent sonnets Candlefoot had once mimed. They exchanged rings as Mr. Light, with tears streaming down his face and a smile as bright as the carnival lights, concluded, "By the power of the Witchlight, I pronounce your souls united. May your journey together be as enduring and joyful as the carnival's endless wheel." The carnival erupted in cheers, their union a testament to the magic that lingered in the air. Amidst the revelry, Odd Fish moved like a shadow, his eyes fixed on the prize that had eluded them for so long, the Witchlight watch. With deft fingers and a trickster's guile, he cut the chain and reached for Mr. Witch's pocket, where the watch lay hidden. In a moment that seemed suspended in time, he felt the cool metal against his paw and drew it out with a triumphant grin and stole away. The Witchlight watch was theirs at last, a key to unlocking the past and reclaiming what had been lost. The festivities reached their zenith when Doot, whose bravery and empathy had shone throughout the night, was crowned Witchlight Monarch. The crown, a radiant circlet of jewels, settled upon his head, and he felt the weight of the title, a beacon of hope and joy for all. His heart swelled with pride as he looked upon the faces of the carnival goers, their eyes reflecting the light of his newfound royalty as they hoisted him onto a throne and proceeded to form a parade. Doot immediately slipped away. The weight of the Witchlight crown on his head was now accompanied by the gravity of their plan. Dirala quickly caught up to Doot and informed him that the crown was not his to keep. Meanwhile, Calliope, with a flourish of her quill, penned a ransom note with words as sharp as her wit. She folded the note with care and placed it inside the Witchlight crown. The friends presented Daralangroon with the crown, the note hidden within like a silent whisper among the cheers of the crowd. It wasn't long before Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, the enigmatic stewards of the carnival, came seeking the watch. Their faces, usually unreadable, now betrayed a flicker of urgency and fear. The negotiations were brief, the terms non-negotiable. The party would relinquish the Witchlight watch, but only in exchange for a journey to the Feywild. Mr. Witch and Mr. Light exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them before they nodded in agreement. The deal was struck, and the three friends felt a mix of triumph and anticipation. They had secured their passage to Prismere, the domain that held the lost things from their past and the promise of their future. As the carnival continued to dance and sing around them, they knew that their true adventure was just beginning. The air was thick with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy, the sounds of laughter and music fading into a distant melody as they approached the Hall of Illusions. Inside was a labyrinth of mirrors, each reflecting a distorted image, a twisted reality. As Witch and Light moved through, their reflections showed them as gloomy Shadar-Kai children, with Doot, Calliope, and Oddfish's own youthful reflections following behind. Soon, they called all to a halt. The mirrors then reflected everyone's true age, but there, at the heart of the maze, stood the mirror unlike any other, a gateway, which addressed them in a hushed tone. Everything you seek and more lies beyond this mirror. If you mean to step through, then stand in front of the glass and repeat this rhyme. Hither, thither, here and there, wander yonder, show me where. Doot stepped forward first, taking a deep breath before passing through the portal, his form dissolving into a cascade of sparkling motes. Oddfish, clutching the Witchlight watch, hesitated. The weight of their task pressed upon him. With a final nod to Calliope, he gave up the watch and stepped through, the portal swallowing him whole. Calliope followed, glancing back at the carnival's owners, which offered some final advice. Mind the rule of three, future, present, past. And Light added, find the alicorn and free the dormant queen at last, before Calliope too vanished into the portal. And so, three friends, after 8 hours at the carnival and 16 years of lacking, stepped through the looking glass into Prismere, and the game began.